Welcome to the PI Show. This is our third season. The PI Show is hopefully bigger and better this season than last season. We hope you enjoyed the highlights of the PI Show over the summer break, but we're back, we're committed, and we've got a fantastic team, and we've got a new and improved set, and this season we are going for broke.
Welcome back, viewers.
Welcome. I'm with Tony Carbone. He's a passionate PI lawyer. He keeps telling us he's been in PI for 25 years.
Quarter of a century.
I've been involved in PI for a little bit less. We've got Maria Mercuri, who's a psychologist, who's been involved in as a health professional with psychological injuries for about 10 years. Yep. And she deals with quite a number of work cover and TAC claims in terms of psychological injuries arising from either workplace injuries or injuries arising out of motor car accidents.
That's right.
Welcome, Maria. You're our first guest.
Thank you.
And dare I say, probably the most attractive guest we'll have. But anyway, today, look, we've got a show today about psychological injuries arising out of work or car accidents. Mm-hmm. And then we've got other cases where we'll deal with psychological injuries. But the first case we're going to have a look at is a case which featured very heavily in the Herald Sun in early February, where it was a magistrates' court hearing, and there was the death of Brodie Panlock, and she committed suicide as a result of workplace bullying. She was employed as a waitress in a Hawthorn restaurant, and the allegation is that she committed suicide as a result of very severe bullying in the workplace. All the parties pleaded guilty to a breach of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and there were varying degrees of fines. They all went through. The company was most severely fined.
Varying degrees of culpability, huh?
And then there was fines against the owner of the company and 3 people involved in the bullying.
That's right.
I think one was a chef and the other 2 worked in the restaurant. Maria, the first question with in your situation as a treater, health professional, what would your advice have been to Brodie?
This is a very sad case and quite an extreme case, but it shows the seriousness of workplace bullying, that ultimately, Brodie's paid the ultimate price. A couple of things that may have helped Brodie would be, there's two variables. The first one is that she would have had to have dealt with the actual behaviour that was occurring at the time, and a couple of the steps that she could have taken would have been, now, we don't know the ins and outs of the case, so...
we're only really on newspaper reports.
Well, that's right. But she could have reported the bullying to her manager or boss in writing.
Yeah.
And I think she did do that, and that was ignored.
The employer was aware of the bullying, but ignored it or told people, to get on, or he really just didn't deal with it at all.
That's right. She could have then actually called WorkSafe and reported it to them. The second thing that she could have done is to help her deal with the impact of the bullying is actually to go see her GP, who may have referred her to either a psychologist or psychiatrist, and may have prescribed medication, which ultimately would have probably saved her life.
Maria, I'm surprised that there was another worker who gave a detailed statement against these fellow employees that were bullying and harassing her.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't report it. She could have reported to WorkSafe or someone else.
Look, she was 19, probably particularly vulnerable. I know that there was some sort of situation with an ex-boyfriend or something had gone on there. So she probably would have felt a lot of shame about the whole incident. And often when people feel ashamed about something, they tend to want to keep that...
A withdrawal.
Yeah, that's right, withdraw and keep it to themselves. So she didn't really want anyone to know.
And it sounded like she was detached from the world because I mean, the parents didn't know what was going on.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Her self-esteem would have been shattered, which also doesn't help her to be assertive and speak up and go along and speak to her GP and go and see someone. And this is often what happens when someone is victimised to that extent, that their sense of self just becomes shattered.
It was pretty extreme. I mean, she's taken her life, and it sounds like she had at least some other episode where she tried to take her life.
That's right.
So at that point, it's very surprising that no one spoke out.
It is surprising, and it just shows you that it's imperative that you share your story with someone, even if it's not a GP, friends or family, whoever it is.
I almost get the impression, Harry, Maria, that there's ignorance involved. People don't appreciate or understand the significance
or what
of
their
this
rights
sort of,
are, or what remedies they've got, or what they can do.
And she probably didn't feel that anyone could help her.
Yeah.
And that's really, where a professional could help.
But the ignorance is probably over and above hers. I mean, even the fellow workers,
that's right.
the other waitress that gave a statement against these.
I think she resigned, or she left
she
beforehand.
resigned. But you'd think that, what I mean,
she didn't alert anyone else to the
no one
problem.
really has an appreciation of, the severity of these sorts of...
What's the, again, we're speculating a bit, but what's the psychological diagnosis? What condition would she suffer from as a result of bullying and harassment at work?
Well, again, without having all the information, it sounds like that she was exposed to some fairly traumatic incidences. I know that she had hot oil poured in her bag and over her, and she was called horrible things, and so it sounds like she may have had post-traumatic stress disorder, perhaps major depression, but again, very difficult to have a diagnosis, without all the facts. But it sounds like that's...
It's a little bit... I mean, I don't want to be harsh on anyone, but you would have thought that she would have been getting home and she would have been withdrawn on that, so the family didn't pick up on it too.
They probably didn't, no.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure. Was she living at home at the time?
Don't know.
No, we're not quite sure.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to go into that. But we might return. We've got a short break, and we'll probably return to some of the issues arising out of this story after the break. Keep watching.